more time again, a little louder. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare time again, a little louder. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare one more time, very loud, with your heart. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time again, very loud. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, सब लोग जल्द से बोलिए Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, we shall. Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I welcome all of you to His Holiness Chandramauli Swami daily class. And today Maharaj will continue on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, which is the new chapter, the process of creation, and verse 1. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, with your permission, may I share the screen?
Please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Over to you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Vyayasakir iti vachaham Tatvanishayam atmanaham upadaryam matim Krishne Autareya satim vyadat. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Shukadev Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna. The word satim is very significant. This means existing and chaste. Already been attracted to the Lord from the very beginning of his body in the womb of his mother. In the womb of his mother, he was struck by a Brahmastra atomic bomb released by Asvatthama. But by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from being burnt by the fiery weapon. And since then, the king continuously concentrated his mind upon Lord Krishna, which made him perfectly chaste in devotional service. So by natural sequence, he was a chaste devotee of the Lord. And when he further heard from Srila Sukadev Goswami that one should worship the Lord only and no one else, even though full of all desires or desireless, his natural affection for Krishna was strengthened. We have already discussed these topics. Become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Two things are very much essential. namely having a chance to be born in the family of a devotee and having a blessing of a bona fide spiritual master. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj had both opportunities. He was born in the family of such devotees as the Pandavas, and just to continue the dynasty of the Pandavas and show them special favor, the Lord specifically saved Maharaj Parikshit, who later on, by the arrangement of the Lord, was cursed by a boy of a Brahmin and was able to get the association of the spiritual master, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that a fortunate person, by the mercy of the spiritual master and Lord Krishna, achieves the path of devotional service. This was perfectly applicable in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. By way of being born in a family of devotees, he automatically came in touch with Krishna, and after being so contacted, he constantly remembered him. Consequently, Lord Krishna gave the king a further chance for development and devotional service by introducing him to Srila Sukadeva Goswami, the stalwart devotee of the Lord with perfect knowledge and self-realization. And by hearing from a bona fide spiritual master, he was perfectly able to concentrate his chaste mind further upon Lord Krishna as a matter of course. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gana Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastyatya De Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we see that many devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness and are making progress towards the goal of life were not born in families of devotees. So that is a consideration that will help strengthen one's progress towards pure devotional service. But what is essential here is the blessings of a bona fide spiritual master. Having received those blessings from Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who is a very highly elevated Paramahansa devotee, he immediately understood the goal of life was to hear the glories of the Lord, remember the glories of the Lord, and to leave the body remembering Krishna. And taking advantage of that opportunity, he attained perfection, as you continue in the Bhagavatam, you'll find in the very last canto, his perfectional stage has been reached. After hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and not only just hearing, he was asking relevant questions that pertains to his understanding of what was being said, and at the same time, how it applies to him in his progress towards pure devotional service. So not only was he hearing, but he was also making further inquiries about devotional service. And this is the indication of a person who is situated nicely in devotional service. fixation, he was fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Mhm. That is as is mentioned here, this is a type of chastity that is very much desirable. Chastity is a very powerful word. Chastity generally applies to complete faithfulness and absorption in a relationship. So we see that sometimes women are considered to be very chaste because they very much serve and follow their husband very nicely. The husband is qualified to lead. The wife follows very carefully. She doesn't need outside help. She knows that her husband is the person who can bring her closer and closer to the perfection of a wife within the family. So she's not interested in other men. She focuses her attention and service on her husband. That's called chastity. We have the example of Gandhari. Gandhari was a very chaste lady. She is known as one of the chaste ladies. Her husband, Dhritarashtra, he was a king. He was in the Kuru dynasty and very much connected with the Pandavas. They were cousin brothers in the family relationship. Now, but Dhritarashtra was born blind, but still she married him. And even though she married him, she didn't want to take a superior position of being someone who was, at least from the physical point of view, better than her husband. So she voluntarily accepted blindness also by wearing a cloth over her eyes her whole life. This is the epitome of chastity within the family. We have the example of Ravana and his wife Mandodari. Mandodari, although she was married to this demon, she was very much following him completely. She served him nicely. She had gentle affection and love for him. And although he had many other wives, still, she remained very chaste and faithful, and she became the prominent wife in the relationship. So there are many examples. You have Anasuya and Atri Muni and Anasuya. You have Sita, who remained chaste to Ram, even though her life was threatened, that if she didn't submit to Ravana, she would be killed. Still, her chastity was fixed. Her attention was fixed. Her love was fixed on Ram. She wasn't to be deviated by any external threats. So here we also see chastity in devotional service, that one focuses their full attention upon the lotus feet of the Lord and worships the lotus feet of the Lord with devotion. This is the perfection of chastity in the realm of spirituality. That what does it mean to be unchaste? Unchaste means, well, I'm focusing on my attention on the Lord, but somehow or other, the Lord is not giving me the mercy I'm expecting or looking for or need. Therefore, I should find some mercy somewhere else in order to fulfill that need. But that's a form of unchaste. It says that a devotee worships the Lord, and even if the Lord causes the devotee difficulty, still they remain faithful in their devotional service. The highest example, or the perfection of that example, is Srimati Radharani. And Lord Chaitanya parroted Radharani's mood for Krishna. Aslisyava pararatam pinastumam adarshanam marmahatam karotu va yata tata va virada tu lampato madpranam nastu sa eva na paraha. That you can kick me, you can break me, you can neglect me. Whatever you do, it's fine. My love for you is not going to change simply by your activities. So that is complete love based on the principle of chastity, that not going anywhere else but staying fixed on Krishna. There's a statement in the Christian scriptures that's part of a particular bhajan that they sing. They say, "The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the Lord." People in the material world, they like God when he gives them or fulfills their desires, or apparently fulfills their desires. And when he doesn't, they find reasons to become less in their devotional practice, or even give up their devotional practice. Prabhupada gives the example that during World War II, the Germans were fighting the British, and the women who were mothers, the women who were wives, the women who were sisters of the soldiers were going to the churches and praying, "Please bring my husband back, please bring my son back, please bring my brother back." But when they were not coming back, they gave up God. So this is an example of using the Lord to fulfill one's material desires, or wanting the Lord to fulfill one's personal desires. Prabhupada would say, the Lord is the order giver, and we are not the order giver. He supplies what we need when we want, and if he doesn't supply what we need, still our devotion is not tinged or mitigated, become less simply by what he doesn't give according to our desires. But that is chastity, that is pure devotional service, being fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. So these are many examples that we can take heart in, but ultimately the Lord is always there for the devotee. He may not always be perceivable by his presence, but he's perceivable by how he arranges everything for the devotee to make progress in devotional service. He takes care of the devotee, as he says in the Bhagavad Gita, "I carry what you have and I preserve what you lack." I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. Excuse me. I carry what you lack, I preserve what you have. Krishna says that directly. So whatever you need in devotional service to make progress, Krishna is there to provide. But sometimes people say, well, I want to see God. I want God to, my son is dying of a disease. I'm praying to God, so please come and cure him. And God doesn't do it. Therefore, I can see that God is not really, caring for me at all, although he is all powerful. There was a famous book that was written many, many years ago, back in the 1970s, late 60s, early 70s. Now, why do bad things happen to good people? It was written by a rabbi, a Jewish priest, and he was a very devout follower of the Lord. And he had a son but the son was born with a very rare disease called pugeria, which is quite rare. A person goes through their whole life cycle quickly. So his son died at the age of 14 of old age. Very rare disease. But it is there in some places. So he was thinking, what has this boy done? He's an innocent boy, and he just went through his whole life cycle in 14 years. So he was thinking, I'm a man of God. But then he started to make his own ideas, and he said, well, God, yes, God is all good. That I can accept, but he's not all powerful. So he made his own conditions on God, saying that, yes, God is good. He's your well-wisher. He's your friend. He's trying to help you. But he cannot deal with all of the situations that are happening with the living entities all over the universe. Therefore, he misses a few. And so he wrote a book based on that actually, that God is good, but he's not all powerful. That book, I think, from my understanding, became one of the biggest best books on the bestseller list ever in the history of bestsellers. People were looking for some answers. Well, so many bad things are happening to good people, and where's God? And so that book became famous. Of course, we were active at the time, and one of our leading pundits in our Krishna conscious movement, he wrote a rebuttal to the book, which actually was a small book in itself. That book is available. And in that book, he said that bad things don't happen to good people. Bad things happen to bad people. Good things happen to good people. So he was referring to previous lives. No one can see what they were in previous lives or some of the reactions that they may be getting in previous lives, either apparently good or apparently bad. Dhritarashtra, at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, had lost his entire family, 100 sons, and he was blind his whole life. He approached the Supreme Lord Krishna. He knew Krishna was God. And he said, my dear Lord, can you tell me what was my karma in my previous lives? I had 100 sons. They all died in the battle, and I was born blind. Krishna immediately responded. He said, yes, 50 lives ago, you were a hunter, and you shot a flaming arrow into a nest of birds which had 100 birds in the nest. All the birds died, but the mother bird was blinded by the fire. She escaped. So he got his answer. And then he said, but my dear Lord, 50 lives ago? Lord said, yes, it took you 50 lives to develop enough good karma where you could have 100 sons. And then when that was in place, then the karma cashed in. So like that, we don't know what's happening in our previous lives. Of course, when we take the devotional service, much of that is mitigated, but still there is what is called parabdha karma, but we still get reactions for things that we have done in order to purify us in such a way that we can overcome these reactions by stopping the activities that cause these reactions. It's a form of purification that is allowed so we can get rid of our bad habits. and make progress on devotional service. But in any case, whether good, bad, or anything, the devotee wants to stay fixed in devotional service, worships the Lord, chants the holy names of the Lord, and is not deviated by success or failure. They're always fixed on that one goal because they have full faith that the Lord is always there, and their devotion of the Lord is not what we say motivated by something material. It is motivated simply by their attraction and attachment in devotion to the Lord. So we need to strengthen our attraction and attachment for Krishna, stay fixed in devotional service, despite what happens on the material level. These things are incidental, they come and go. Our spiritual life is eternal. Our relationship with Krishna is eternal. And the process of pure devotional service is eternal. The things that happen to us on the material level, or don't happen to us, as it's mentioned here also, things we expect to happen but don't happen, are all part of the ephemeral material energy that moves the three modes of material energy, and people get the results or don't get the results of certain types of activities. So here we see that is the mercy of the spiritual master. And if one is very, very fortunate, they're born in a family of devotees, and they can make progress faster towards the goal of life by having that, what we say, that start in spiritual life, where from the very beginning, they are surrounded by devotional activities, parents who are fixed in Krishna consciousness. But the essential point is the mercy of the spiritual master, as it's mentioned here. Okay, we can stop here and see if there's any discussion.
Thank you, Maharaj, for enlivening class and message. Dear devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realization, request all of you to please raise your hand, or you can type in chat window. Also request to every devotee, if possible, please switch on your video. That's a good, nice interaction. Yes, Amritanam Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj, we have seen specifically Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj has talked about chastity towards ISKCON, and he mentions that in no case you should leave ISKCON. So
Which Maharaj?
Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to understand the chastity towards, the importance of chastity towards Guru, Srila Prabhupada, and ISKCON. If you can shed some on that.
Yeah, Prabhupada said, ISKCON is my body. And even if the body is sick, you don't abandon the body. You try to, cure the ailments that are afflicted. It's like if someone's sick, you think, oh, I better give them up because they're sick. No. If there's some difficulties, some deviations that are happening within the society, then one works in such a way as to try to maybe correct those things, or just tolerate them and go on with the process. Because Srila Prabhupada manifested his mercy through this ISKCON movement. ISKCON is an extension of his relationship with his spiritual master, the Gaudiya Math. The Gaudiya Math no longer was following their spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta. They had deviated from that. That history is explained in places in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Prabhupada mentions it. So Prabhupada tried to continue his relationship with his spiritual master's society, but he got no support. Zero. Although they wished him well, no support at all. No money, no men, nothing. So Prabhupada knew that before he could actually preach, he'd have to develop an organization of himself as the foundation for the extension that would connect to Bhaktisiddhanta's movement, which was, of course, the Gaudiya, Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya. So Prabhupada's ISKCON is an extension of that. That's mentioned in the very beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita in chapter 7 of Adi Lila, where ISKCON is a branch of Lord Chaitanya's tree. The branch of the tree extends itself out into different ways according to the different personalities within the Panchatattva. So ISKCON is a branch of Lord Chaitanya's movement, as explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Well, no, not Krishna, no, by Srila Prabhupada, as he describes the entire arrangement. So staying chaste, staying fixed to ISKCON means staying fixed to Srila Prabhupada. As I mentioned, the body may be sick, but you don't give up the body because it's sick. You try to heal the body. So that's our duty. If there is some deviation, some intervention of certain religious or sub-religious principles that enter in and become a standard within our society, we have to keep the purity of what Srila Prabhupada gave us. Therefore, we have to know what Srila Prabhupada gave us and act in that way, and at the same time take the opportunity to enlighten others about Srila Prabhupada's movement. But the point is, you don't give up because there is something amiss. You try to fix it.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. And the same applies for the Guru as well, right?
Yeah. Just like if one spiritual master falls down, it doesn't mean that one should give up the process of devotional service. All they have to do is stay within the society, take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and go on with their devotional service, and there's no loss in their own execution of devotional service.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare-
Mataji. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Vrindavanath. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, in the lecture you said that, about karma, bad things happening to good people and so on. So when people are suffering from some really severe bad karma and they're lamenting or they're feeling very sad or bad about it, how we should handle that situation, because telling them it's their karma is very disheartening or disempowering, but actually they need to hear the whole philosophy properly in order to understand or get a perspective. So we have to tell them, but which is the right time to tell them that?
You're speaking of devotees or non-devotees?
Devotees.
Devotees are not under the influence of karma, but they still might have some residue karma that is still there, that is still being played out until they reach the stage of pure consciousness. In other words, when you first join Krishna consciousness and you take initiation, your karma is being absorbed by the spiritual master, but still there is an element of residue karma. And then you have to work with that. In other words, you have to give up those types of attachments that are still there lingering within your own consciousness. Now, there's another kind of apparent suffering. It's tate nukampa shushamikshamanam bhujan eva kritam vivakam ridva vahubir vidadan namaste jiveti yo nitya padayat bhak. This is a very powerful verse from the 10th canto, chapter 14, verse number 8, where Krishna puts one in a difficult such situation just to purify that person. This is done by the Lord himself. It's not karma. It's simply the Lord's mercy upon the devotee to purify them from some attachment, to move them along closer to him by taking more shelter of him in devotional service, by giving them some transcendental knowledge that is needed for their practice of. In other words, that type of such suffering is orchestrated by the Lord himself. So both of these things may happen to the devotee. But if the devotee tries to sort it out, which one it is, don't worry. Just stay fixed in devotional service no matter what happens. That's all. And these things will pass also, and one will gain some knowledge, some surrender, some mercy in each of the situations. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur, I was just hearing one beautiful song. We were singing it. We sang it at your house the other day, where Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, "What is my happiness in devotional service? The difficulties I experience in my execution of devotional service." No one likes difficulties, but for a great soul, these are opportunities to show more devotion. And for everyone, it's an opportunity for showing more devotion. So I don't think you should hold back on explaining things to people directly when they come to you for some advice.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
We have to give assurance that devotional service is all auspicious. Krishna is very kind, and the process is pure. But what our purification comes sometimes through difficult situations. But it's not the process, it's not Krishna, it's not the situations that are causing us some difficulty. It's like when someone needs an operation, the surgeon has to do some cutting. And so he takes a knife and cuts into the body of the person to do the operation. But that doesn't mean he's causing harm to the person. It's a necessary part of the healing process. So because we are still struggling in our material world, there will be sometimes some difficulties. And because we have a material body, that is inevitable also. The body is subjected to hunger, thirst, anxieties. These are different things that happen simply because we have a material body, that's all. But just, tolerate them and go on in your devotional service, that's all. All these things will pass in due course of time. That is guaranteed. Who stays fixed in devotional service will achieve the perfection of life, where the devotee becomes happy in Krishna consciousness and serves the Lord with love.
Thank
And
you,
of
Guru.
course, if we chant the holy names and develop an attraction and attachment for chanting, we can also push back all of the difficulties that may come by way of having a material body and struggling to make perfection in Krishna consciousness. The holy name is the purifier, Cheto Dharmanam Marjanam.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you, Maharaj, for this was very, very inspiring, actually. Nice question. Ras Vilasni Radha Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to Guru Maharaj and assembled devotees. Maharaj, I had two questions. First is like when I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam purport, like 1.18.47, and I was thinking like when Shringi cursed Maharaj Parikshit, was there any past worth reason behind why he did that, Maharaj?
Yeah, the story is there in that same section where Maharaj Parikshit comes into the hermitage of Samagrish, who is the father of Shringi. And he's tired, he's been traveling, and the sage is in meditation. And the sage doesn't notice his guest is the king of the world who came. But Maharaj Parikshit was offended that he didn't get a glass of water or any attention. So he saw there was a dead snake laying on the ground. He took a stick and picked up the dead snake and put it around Samagrish and said, "You're a great rishi, here's your garland." And he left. Now, Maharaj Parikshit shouldn't have acted like that, but he did. But there's a reason behind that. But when Shringi, who was the son of Samagrish, heard about that, he became very angry. And he pronounced his curse that Maharaj Parikshit should die in 7 days by being bitten by a snake bird. When Maharaj Parikshit heard that, he accepted the curse, and he took the opportunity to leave the world in devotion. Maharaj Parikshit was powerful enough to counteract the curse, but he didn't do it. He thought, here's an opportunity, and this is also the mercy of the Lord, to go back home, back to Godhead. So that's explained in that same area where you're reading the whole chapter. So Shringi was he was a Brahmin boy, and he wanted to show off in front of his friends, and mentions that, just to show his Brahminical powers.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj. And second question, Maharaj, yesterday, as you said, that if a pujari is given a particular service and is doing it nicely, then itself is preaching. And similarly, if someone is given a special service and they are doing it while focusing on how to do it even better, that also means they are preaching?
Preaching means to change the heart. Preaching doesn't necessarily mean to study the books and speak philosophy. That's preaching, of course. Preaching means to change the heart. So be an example of devotional service is a form of preaching. Because when people see that, they are also purified. They are also attracted to devotional service. But when we talk about preaching, we talk about spreading the message of the Lord. So we have to make a distinction. Srila Prabhupada said each and every devotee in our movement should know the philosophy, and where they can be able to speak at any given moment in any circumstance. But always be ready to speak the philosophy and take opportunities to reach out to others and try to bring them into Krishna consciousness. But when we talk about a broader definition of preaching, which is more inclusive, just like, for example, Srila Prabhupada he was chanting bhajan, he was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And in the next room, his secretary, Pradyumna, I think it was Satcharup Maharaj, was typing on the typewriter. And Prabhupada said, this is also chanting also, typing. So what Prabhupada sometimes, you have to understand what is the principle behind what the Guru says. The Guru says many things, but you have to understand what does he mean. He can speak in a very direct way. He can speak in a broad way. He can speak in a limited way. He can speak in different ways. So you have to understand the principle behind it. So when we speak about preaching in the broad way, that means one's service is such ideal that anyone who comes in contact with them also becomes Krishna conscious. But then when we speak about preaching in a general sense, we're talking about reaching out to people and giving them an opportunity to engage in devotional service. So that's why we need you have to not only read the books, but you have to understand what is the meaning within the context that is being given. Don't just read, but understand also. And that's where questions come in.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, there is one question on chat from Bonnie Mataji. She is saying, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Is it not true that when Krishna favors someone, he takes everything away?
When Krishna favors someone, not favors. You said not favors or favors?
No, her question is it not true that when Krishna favors someone?
Well, there's
Yeah,
that.
trouble. I was saying favors.
Yeah, that's that verse in the 10th canto, 88th chapter. I can't remember the actual number of the verse, 1088. What is it, Sri Devi, 1088?
I think it's 1088.8, Guru Maharaj, but let me check.
Mhm. And Prabhupada uses that verse to speak about himself. He said, Krishna took everything away from me. Took away my family, my occupation, my money, everything. But,
Yes, Guru Maharaj is 1088.8.
all right, what does the verse say?
The personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another.
Read the purport.
Okay.
Is it long?
It's got 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's a little long.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's very
long.
long.
7 paragraphs.
So what Krishna is saying, hey, you're attached to all of these things. I'm taking them all away. And now look at you. There's nothing left except me.
Haribol.
Yeah, but go down the page. You hit one of the paragraphs, but you jumped again. Keep going. I saw something in And there, the beloved of the Lords do not regard it as very troublesome. Whoops, you jumped
Yeah,
again.
it's here. It's here.
He imposes, indeed, they find that in the end it gives them an unlimited pleasure, just as the stinging ointment applied by a physician cures his patient. Suffering helps protect the confidentiality of devotionals by discouraging intrusions by the faithless. It also increases the eagerness in which the devotee can call upon the Lord to appear. If the devotee of the Lord Vishnu were complacently happy all the time, he would never have a reason to appear in this world as Krishna. And so, yeah. So Prabhupada said, he showed me special favor by taking everything away from me.
So, Maharaj, I was thinking of that when you were talking earlier with the other people about what to think about when people are suffering, what they think might be horrible karma. I was thinking it might just be their mercy.
Yeah, that's
The
true.
devotees.
But I think Krishna will only do that to devotees who can actually understand the actual way to react to that. Neophyte devotees, if they get in that situation, may just give up Krishna consciousness.
Aye.
So Krishna is selective on how he applies that. If I especially favor someone. So that's the state. If I especially favor someone. Haribo.
Thank you, Maharaj.
We have to remember, life in this material world is simply a phantasmagoria. It's not even, it's simply maintaining this body that can't be maintained anyway. That's what this material world is about. Trying to maintain something you can't maintain. And trying to find some happiness in the execution of maintaining. So don't worry about it. Just engage in devotional service and pray to Krishna to show his mercy. That's all. He'll give you so much, he'll take things away.
Thank you, Maharaj. There is one related question on chat from Manisha Mataji. She is on YouTube. Because of network issue, she cannot connect here. So her question is that how can we develop the faith to remain strong in devotional service during difficult times? I think quite a related question.
Saru Sangha Sarvashastri Hoy, Lavamatta Saru Sangha Sarvasiri Hoy. Association with devotees, especially devotees who are more advanced than we are in devotional service. The mind will kill you. But if you take shelter of the association of devotees, they will help you to go through what you have to go through and ultimately understand what you're going through is actually bringing you closer to Krishna. We have to lose everything anyway, so why complain about losing it now? Why do we worry about losing it now? We're going to lose it anyway. So just accept loss and gain as it comes and continue on with your devotional service. Krishna will always provide an opportunity for you to make progress. Don't worry. Anyway,
Thank you,
we
Maharaj.
talk about loss and gain, but actually nothing belongs to us anyway in the first place. How can we actually say this is mine? Because it's given to us in the first place. Your body's given to you. The intelligence, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he gives you intelligence. He gives you everything. We're simply living on borrowed items that have been supplied to us. That's all. We should be grateful for the opportunity for devotional service and not complain when we lose something or when we don't get something. Read Bhakti Tirtha Swami's book, Die Before Dying, and Beggar Number 4. And that really highlights this mood that we're talking about. One thing you can never lose is your relationship with Krishna. Therefore, consider yourself very fortunate. He's always there for the devotee. Sometimes we can perceive him, sometimes we can't. But he's there. He says in the 12th chapter, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. His name is Mukunda. He brings one free from the cycle of birth and death. Our problem is we still want to be happy materially. That's our problem. Don't worry, Krishna will take care of you. He takes care of his devotees. Don't worry about it. But you have to live in a proper way, not do something that is harmful to yourself and then say, well, it's Krishna's mercy. No, live properly. Follow the principles for proper human culture. In other words, develop the proper mood of living in this world. What is the proper mood? To accept what comes by way of one's endeavor in Krishna consciousness, and not to be not to be overwhelmed when something doesn't come, and not to be overwhelmed when something is lost. You always have prashadam. You'll always have the association of devotees as you take advantage of it. You always have the opportunities to chant the holy names of the Lord. I just came across a nice book. The author lives here, and I think you know her, Sri Devi. She even mentions your name in her book. It's called The Grateful Heart by Guru Seva. Did you read that book? You read it?
Not fully, Guru Maharaj. She did give me a copy. I have begun it and I sort of left it halfway.
No, that's the kind of book you sit down and you finish. You don't stop.
Okay.
I just finished it today. I did make one stop because of situation. She's grateful for everything that happens in devotional service. She was almost killed when she was traveling in Panama, but that almost loss of life brought her to Krishna consciousness. So she's grateful for that incident. I get letters from people in jail saying, boy, since I've been in jail, I met the devotees. I would have never met the devotees if I wasn't in jail.
Thank you, Maharaj. I think it's very, very enlivening to reach to that stage where we feel that everything belongs to Krishna, and this body, every possession, actually nothing belongs to us. So we are not losing anything, and we are not, and whatever we are having, that's all gain from given by Krishna.
Yeah, the principle is to be grateful for whatever you have. That's the principle. Whether you have a lot or a little from the material perspective, still you have the opportunity for devotional service. That we're grateful for. The opportunity for to associate with devotees. The opportunity to chant the holy name.
Thank you, Maharaj. Amritanam Mataji, maybe if you are okay, can I go first on Pavni and Bhagyashi Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, of course. Sure.
Yes, so Mataji, over to you, please. Pavni and Bhagyashi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and to your lotus feet. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and you. Maharaj, as we were talking about chastity today, so we see that in society, the kids are not that much chaste to the parents. And because of that, many other issues are arising. They are so much restless, they don't respect their parents at all. Means coming a no from a parent is like rebellious for them. Means they can't digest that no. So where as a ISKCON, as a responsible organization, how we can contribute to this kind of thought spreading in the society, how we can uh, teach them about the justice.
Yeah, well, that's the feature of effect of Kali Yuga. It's mentioned in the Mahabharata that children will disrespect and not appreciate their parents. It's the effects of this age. The idea is to pull them away from the effects of this age by giving them the shelter of Krishna consciousness. If we send them to public schools, they're going to be subjected to a lot of the horrors of this world. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada wanted to establish gurukuls and also higher education within the society also. He didn't want our children to be educated by the secular society, which causes so much difficulty for the parents because the kids pick up things that ultimately are not good for their, not only for their Krishna conscious, but just for their general well-being. The kids today, I can see, because they're subjected to all of this other stuff. And when you're young, you're impressionable. You pick up things, and sometimes you can't discriminate between what is right and what is wrong. Your friends are doing it, so you also do it. Therefore, you have to really educate them while they're home. But ideally, the idea is to set up our own society where we don't have to send the kids. And that's one of the advantages of the United States of America. They allow for children to be schooled outside of the public arena. You can read about Aruda. Aruda, she has written books about homeschooling. You familiar with her books? Yeah.
No, Maharaj.
Yeah, her two sons are brilliant kids, and they're very devotional, both of them. So homeschooling kids all the way up to the university level, and then once they're that age, they're fixed. They're not going to be deviated even if they go into the universities. But when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, these are the impressionable years. They pick up so many things from their peers that are not healthy. And then they bring it back home. And if their parents don't like it, then they don't listen to their parents. It's very common. Yeah. Well, what they're teaching in schools now is horrible. Then you can't refer to yourself according to your gender anymore. That's not allowed. You can't say, I'm a she or I'm a he. Mm, yeah, even I know it's happening everywhere in the United States now. Just like they have 28 different genders now. Did you know that?
Horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. Sick. It's a mental derangement. You know, I had to fill out a form one time, and on there it said gender, male, female, other. I had the third box there, other. So, I mean, the public schools are just, as Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, modern education is slaughterhouses. Slaughter the good qualities of the youth. You really have to work hard to really, and it depends on the child itself, to bring them back to the right understanding. Krishna consciousness, teach them kindness, teach them to eat food that is not based on violence. It's hard, but Prabhupada gave us the formula. He wanted gurukuls all over the world, and then homeschooling is another option, which there's many mothers in our society who are doing homeschooling. Many. Unfortunately, in some countries in Europe, it's not allowed. They're required to go to public schools. But at least the school system is a little better in Europe than it is in America. America is it's like going into a war zone. Really, it's bad. One of my disciples, her son was telling me, he's 14. He said the kids come into school and they go into the bathrooms and they steal the toilets and the sinks. They bring in tools and take the toilets and the sinks and they bring them home. Yeah, he was telling me like that. I'm serious. And the boy wasn't exaggerating either. So public schools and especially in America are like, like I don't know how you would describe it, but it's like horrible.
Yes, Maharaj. And also, one thing we are seeing that parents are also very much lazy about parenting. If the kid is demanding something, they just hand over some gadgets and leave it like that. So they also need to bring some awareness as well.
Yeah, your daughter is good. Train her. She's got a good start in life because she's a devotee.
All glories to you, Guru Maharaj.
But she's even having trouble now, right? With her peers. But she has one value system and they have another. And because they don't like her value system, they criticize her. So what she has to go through just to go to school shouldn't be allowed. We want to associate with devotees, not with non-devotees. In work, in education, in recreation, we should associate with devotees.
It's all your mercy, Maharaj, that I'm going through all of this in school.
Anyway, I'm coming to Detroit. I'll be there soon, so I'll save you. Prabhupada will save you. But don't let your mother suffer so much.
You are the savior, Guru Maharaj. You,
I can't save anybody, but Prabhupada has given us some means by which we can help others, so we try. Prabhupada's mercy. If you study and hear from Prabhupada, you realize he didn't leave anything out. Nothing. The social, the political, the economic, any aspect of society is included within the precincts of Krishna conscious lifestyle. All we have to do is create that environment. Krishna consciousness is not just a spiritual movement, it's a holistic movement that covers all of the needs of the living entity while they're in the material world, and it also brings them out of the material world back to the spiritual world. The Vedic culture is the actual standard for human culture, not this Western culture. Western culture has no culture. The Western culture is a money culture. That's all it is. It's a money culture. Everything's based on money. And money is not a foundation for human development. Morality, family values, spiritual values. These are the standards by which society lives and grows. Kindness towards animals, kindness towards each other. We don't find that. So Prabhupada gave us the formula, and it's happening. Like I'm here in Mayapur. We meet devotees all the time. And a devotee will do anything for another devotee. Just ask a devotee anything, and that devotee, if they can do it, they'll do it. That's the nature of a devotee. Karmis will sometimes do something for you, but they want something in return. Or they want to help you the way they think they should help you. People are dying like crazy because of mistreatment in the medical field. It's so bad. I get updates. I get regular updates from that area. People are suffering tremendously because of bad treatment by doctors. Prabhupada wanted our own hospitals. We have one, Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mumbai. It's just not only medical care, it's care for the human being as a human being. The world everything's going down. And Prabhupada could see that. So he also encouraged us to build a society based on spiritual and religious principles. So why send kids to these public schools? You're not really helping them. Let's move on to.
Sure. Thank you, Maharaj. So,
Yes, sir.
Amritana Mataji.
I think I'm running out of time, so let's
Yes.
wind it up very quickly. I have another program coming up within the next few minutes, actually.
Sure, Maharaj. So I will request Amritana Mataji and Sridevi Mataji if any quick question, then maybe, yeah. Please.
Hare Krishna. So my question is to Maharaj, can a woman be forced to lose the chastity? Because we have seen in the history that many invaders have captured the the rulers' women, and they were forced to be the slaves of them. So can this does scriptures tell something about this?
Well, that's unfortunate. That's war. When war is there, women get victimized. That's one of the first things that happens in war all the time. And it's not that the women are succumbing to that; they're just being victimized by war. War is very bad. What can you do? The idea is to protect the women. During the Battle of Kurukshetra, there wasn't any women who lost their lives because the battle was fought in a neutral place. It was soldiers against soldiers, military against military. Nowadays, there's terrorism. There's not only women but children. In the year 2023, this is coming from the advisor to the UN. I saw a video where he was speaking. He said in 2023, 8 million children disappeared. 8 million. Nobody knows what happened to them. They capture children, kill them, drink their blood, sell them as prostitutes, sell them for, to these rich people in the Middle East or in other places. 8 million. That's the size of the country of Austria. So women are being victimized, children are being victimized, everybody's being victimized by Kali Yuga. It's such a bad age. Therefore, the only solution is Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada made that point over and over again. We have to preach, and at the same time, we have to live according to religious principles. So it's unfortunate that happens, but that's what happens when there is turmoil, when there's calamities, war.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Sridevi
Last,
Mataji.
last
Yeah.
question.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, just quickly, in the course of the lecture, you said, Guru Maharaj, that preaching, one can preach by one's own example. It doesn't mean that we have to speak. Preaching means that change of heart. So when you are an example of a practicing Hare Krishna, then you can inspire people to take up the process. That's what you said. So my question is, Guru Maharaj, supposing by some circumstance, we have to go and live with, say, relatives or people who are not Krishna conscious, then by our own example, can we help them or inspire them to become Krishna conscious as long as we keep our principles and our practice intact, or they'll pull us down and our Krishna consciousness will also go?
That depends on you. It depends on you. If you're strong spiritually, you won't go down. If you're weak spiritually, you'll go down. There's those who go out and preach and can change others, and there's those who go out and preach and become affected by who they preach to. Depends on the person. Make yourself strong and you won't be affected.
No, I'm not so worried about, I'm worried that I'll end up fighting with them. instead of being a good example. That's what worries me.
Why are you so attached to relatives?
I don't know.
Don't worry about them. Just you're surrounded by so many people who can benefit by what you do. Why you want to waste time with people who don't want it?
Well, there's some family pressure. For example, my daughter says, if I have a baby, you have to come here and take care of me and the baby. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
Well, that's up to you. I can't make a statement based on that. You have to decide. But if you need help, get advice from people who are in a similar circumstance.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj, for amazing nectar. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Is Srimati still online yet? You there, Srimati, somewhere? No?
I see. No, I think she has
Yes,
dropped.
Guru Maharaj, she's coming. She's here, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada.
Announce tomorrow's program.
Oh, yeah. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Tomorrow, there is a class with Mayapur devotees. Maharaj is giving class on the topic of holy name. And that's a separate Zoom link, but the time is the same regular time as 12 p.m. UK time. And India time is 5:30. So I'll share the link in the WhatsApp group. So say Monday evening. So we'll not have this regular Zoom call. But we'll join another Zoom. But the time will be same. Please join everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, she'll give you the link. Let me see. Let me just recheck the time to make sure. Yes, it's a half-hour program, 5:30 to 6. It's sponsored by Congregational Development Ministry, and the topic is the Holy Name.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Yeah.
Antakoti Vaishnav Brind ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for today's class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you very much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hari Hari Hari.